Welcome. So there's this significant tension brewing, isn't there?
Yeah.
Right at the heart of the African Union.
Yeah, specifically around this really ambitious One Africa government idea.
Exactly. And what's emerging is this, well, fascinating leadership clash for who gets to be the first president.
It seems to be shaping up between South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa and Burkina Faso's leader Ibrahim Traoré.
Right. We've been digging into this, looking at diplomatic cables, notes from inside AU meetings, reactions from all over the continent. That's all thanks to our analysis unit, SABBN. So today, our mission is really to unpack all this, the arguments, the different interests, and, what this whole leadership thing actually means for Africa's future. Okay, so let's dive in with what our sources are calling an unexpected twist.
Okay.
It seems AU insiders have revealed that President Ramaphosa is privately quite opposed to Ibrahim Traoré getting that first presidential spot.
Really? Private opposition?
Yeah. And diplomatic cables SABN accessed seemed to confirm it. He apparently argued in a closed-door AU prep meeting that South Africa, not Burkina Faso, should lead the first term, for this big One Africa government project.
Interesting. And did the cables mention why? What's the reasoning?
Well, this is where it gets really insightful. Ramaphosa apparently laid out specific criteria. He's emphasizing institutional strength, economic maturity, and continental influence.
Wow. Okay, those are pretty specific benchmarks. And our sources say that phrasing definitely stirred things up among member states.
Exactly, because it frames the whole debate, doesn't it? It's not just about who, but about what kind of Africa this new union is aiming to be. It's a very pointed set of requirements he's putting out there.
And South Africa, they do have a strong case on paper based on those criteria.
No doubt. We're talking about what, the continent's second largest economy?
Plus an independent judiciary, a functioning democracy.
Peaceful power transitions, too, which isn't always a given.
Right. And strong financial institutions like their Reserve Bank, media freedom, that globally recognized constitution. They're definitely putting their established governance model out front.
But here's the question, I suppose. In a continent as diverse as Africa, is institutional strength the only argument, or even the most compelling one for this first leadership role?
That's the nub of it, isn't it? And that's exactly why Ramaphosa's comments apparently caused those murmurs.
So what's the deeper argument from their side?
Well, South African officials are essentially saying, look, the very first president needs to come from a country with, and this is their phrase, proven institutional maturity.
To gain international confidence, presumably. Get things running smoothly.
Precisely. A source in Pretoria told SABEN, and I'm quoting here, "We're not saying Traoré isn't a revolutionary. We're saying symbolism is important, but structure and capacity are essential if this union is to succeed."
So a very pragmatic take. Stability systems first.
That's the angle. Prioritizing stability and, established systems over maybe more symbolic choices.
And it seems that pragmatic view has found some traction.
It looks like it. We heard delegates from Botswana, Ghana, and Kenya were reportedly nodding along, quietly favoring an experienced, economically influential leader to launch this massive project.
So there's definitely a bloc that values that kind of stability.
It's a significant one.
Okay, but now let's pivot. Let's talk about Ibrahim Traoré. He represents a completely different vision, doesn't he? Almost revolutionary.
Totally different. He's really seen as embodying this rise of Africa's youth and also, importantly, military reformers.
Known for his very bold rejection of what he calls French neocolonialism, that lingering influence, right?
Exactly. Rejecting that economic and political influence from former colonial powers. And he has this powerful vision for economic sovereignty.
What's really striking about Traoré, though, is the level of support he seems to have on the ground.
Oh, absolutely. A key part of his appeal is this huge continental grassroots support. It's quite remarkable.
How's that manifesting?
Well, young Africans across platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Telegram, they've basically created this digital wave around him. Some even call it a digital cult.
Wow.
They see him as a kind of modern-day Thomas Sankara, a real revolutionary figure for today.
Like Sankara, wow.
Yeah. As one AU youth representative apparently put it, if we start one Africa government with a politician who smiles in Davos, it's game over.
Strong words.
Very. His speeches trend almost instantly, and interestingly, he's even admired by some youth activists in South Africa. So this isn't just about one leader. It's a whole movement demanding a radical break,
Yeah. I get that. But despite that huge popular backing, there are criticisms, obviously.
Of course.
He's only in his 30s, right?
Yeah.
His relatively short time in power, the military takeover background, those are all points being raised. People are saying he's a risky first leader for something this big.
And Ramaphosa's team has definitely latched on to those points.
How so?
They're highlighting Burkina Faso's current security challenges, the, let's say, fragile political transition happening there, and the lack of fully functional national systems that align with AU constitutional standards.
So the argument is that appointing someone from a transitional government.
Yeah, it might invite global skepticism, is how they put it. It's that clear emphasis again, stability over revolutionary energy. They worry about the message it sends internationally about the AU's, seriousness.
But Traore's supporters, they haven't just taken that lying down, have they?
Not at all. They've, as you said, kind of clapped back, referencing Thomas Sankara again, asking something like, are we now disqualifying revolutions because they are not polished?
That response really hits at a deep historical nerve in Africa, doesn't it? That tension between established paths and the push for radical, immediate change.
Absolutely. It throws a spotlight on that fundamental debate from the post-colonial journey, dealing with inherited institutions versus this radical demand for true self-determination.
So the outcome here really signals something bigger.
It really does. Is the AAU just a continuation of old power structures, maybe with a new coat of paint? Or is it genuinely embodying new aspirations? It's that question of method versus mandate.
Okay, so we've got South Africa and Burkina Faso as the main contenders, the main focus. But it's crucial to remember this isn't just a two-horse race, right?
Not at all. Other countries are definitely eyeing the throne, so to speak. There are other strategic players involved here.
Let's talk about them. Who else is in the mix?
Well, it's interesting to see the different approaches. Kenya, for example, seems to be doing some quiet lobbying behind the scenes.
For themselves. Or for others.
Suggesting more neutral candidates. Perhaps someone like former President Uhuru Kenyatta or even the current President William Ruto, positioning themselves as maybe a safe, democratic alternative.
Okay. What about Nigeria? They're a huge player.
Nigeria's been quite cautious, actually. President Bola Tinubu hasn't made any public comments, but insiders are suggesting he'd likely lean toward South Africa's position.
Why is that?
The thinking seems to be about avoiding normalizing military governments taking power.
Ah, okay. Anyone else making moves?
Then you have Ghana. President John Mahama has apparently quietly put himself forward as a potential transitional figure.
On what grounds?
Citing Ghana's democratic history, its relatively calm international image. Sort of a steady hand option.
Makes sense.
And we shouldn't forget the North African bloc. Algeria and Egypt are lobbying pretty hard.
What's their argument?
They're pushing for North Africa to be considered more seriously, arguing that true Pan-Africanism has to include all regions equally, not just focus on sub-Saharan players.
This really does put the African Union in a tough spot.
Absolutely. They initially hoped, for a simple rotating presidency. Each region gets a turn, nice and orderly.
But the symbolism of being the first president.
It's turned out to be way more powerful than anticipated. It's causing these deep rifts. You can almost feel the frustration.
Yeah, an AU diplomat from Tanzania told SABN something telling, did they?
They did. Said something like, we thought this would be ceremonial, but now everyone wants the first crown. We underestimated how deep national pride runs.
And complicating everything is that deadline.
Right. February 26th, 2026. That's when the One Africa government is supposed to be operational, and they still don't have agreement on leadership. The clock is ticking.
So beyond the pride, beyond the different visions for Africa, we need to talk about the economics, the strategy behind this. There's real business behind this battle, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. This runs much deeper than just patriotism or political philosophy.
What kind of stakes are we talking about?
Huge stakes. It's not just about market share today. It's about setting the rules, the regulations, influencing the whole architecture of the continental economy for decades. Who gets to lead the charge in a united Africa?
So if South Africa leads,
then their banks, their big telecom companies, infrastructure firms, they could get a major advantage in shaping policy continent-wide.
and if Traore leads,
Then perhaps French West Africa finally gets a stronger voice, one that maybe felt ignored by the AU elite historically. It could open up completely new economic partnerships and priorities.
and the middle ground candidates, like Ghana or Kenya,
If one of them leads, maybe the AU finds that leader with broad global appeal, solid democratic credentials, a different kind of economic direction again.
we're talking serious money.
Billions, Billions of dollars in trade deals, technology contracts, defense procurement, maybe even the shape of a future digital currency. It's all potentially influenced by who sits in that first chair.
On that note, SABBN got an exclusive quote from someone they call Chairman Shadow, a senior insider in Addis Ababa.
Oh yeah, what did they say?
Said, "The AU is not breaking. It is evolving. Disagreement is natural in birth. But let it be clear, whoever becomes the first president must be approved by the people, not just the politicians."
Wow. That's quite a statement, putting the emphasis on the people.
And he added, "We are designing a people's union, and we are watching who is truly humble enough to serve." Apparently, those words have really taken off. They're trending.
That really tells you something about the shifting dynamics inside the AU, doesn't it? There's this strong undercurrent, this popular demand pushing back against potentially elite-driven decisions.
And it's not just insiders.
No, not at all. African artists, influencers, major thought leaders, they're all jumping into this debate, amplifying that people's union idea.
Like who? Any examples?
Well, Trevor Noah made a comment, didn't directly name Traore, but said something in a podcast like, Africa's future won't be written by economists, it will be written by courage. Kind of captures that spirit, right? Dr. Arikana Chihure, the former AU ambassador to the U.S., tweeted something balanced. "I support youth leadership, but we must also build systems. Passion without policy is just noise."
Interesting contrast there.
And even music stars. Nigerian sensation Rima posted, "United Africa or nothing. Don't play with this moment." It shows how deeply this whole thing resonates, you know? It's become a cultural issue, not just political.
So where do things go from here? What's the immediate next step?
Well, there's a high-level summit scheduled for October. It's happening in Accra, Ghana.
And the theme is pretty direct, isn't it?
Yeah. Power and unity, choosing Africa's first united leader. Doesn't get much clearer than that.
And the expectation is that the AU Commission Chair, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, will try to mediate.
He's expected to play a really crucial role in trying to cool things down, find some common ground.
Are there compromise ideas floating around already?
There are. People are talking about maybe a shorter 2-year rotating presidency to start, or perhaps a shared executive council so power isn't concentrated in one person.
Or maybe a ceremonial head with a more operational vice president?
That's another possibility being floated. But, you know, the critical question hangs over all of this. Will Ramaphosa and Traore, with these really strong opposing visions, actually accept a compromise? That's the big unknown.
Yeah, SABN's final analysis sort of distills it nicely, I think. They frame Ramaphosa as being pro-structure, not necessarily anti-youth or anti-revolution.
Right, and Traore as pro-liberation, but not inherently anti-structure or anti-governance. It's about their primary focus.
So, looking at the bigger picture.
Look, I think it tells us Africa is, well, it's waking up maybe, not falling apart. This is the sound of a continent figuring itself out, defining its own path forward.
It won't be easy.
No way. The road to a One Africa government definitely won't be smooth. But the key thing is it feels real now. It's actually happening. And it's something worth fighting for despite the disagreements.
Ultimately, as we head towards 2026, it feels like it's not just about who gets to lead first.
Exactly. The real question is whether Africa can genuinely rise together through this process.
So maybe the final thought for you, our listener, is this. As the continent moves towards this huge monumental union, what does this very tension between established governance on one side and revolutionary spirit on the other tell us about the fundamental choices being made right now for a new united Africa? Something to definitely keep thinking